On the 2nd of February, the MPs had two ILR debates regarding ILR. That is basically whether the 10-year rule that the government is proposing should be applied retrospectively. That is to say, will it affect those already in the UK or not? And now the government, the Home Secretary, has come out to respond to this. What has she said and what should we be expecting? My name is Tochi and welcome to my channel. Please like this video, give it a thumbs up as you're watching so YouTube can recommend it to more people that needs to hear this. To all my returning subscribers, you guys are wonderful people. You're welcome back to today's video. And if you're yet to subscribe, I honestly don't know why you haven't yet. Don't you like my face? Please click on the subscribe button right now. Thank you. Now guys, it's no longer news that the government have made some proposals regarding ILR, you know, how they wish to extend it from 5 years to 10 years, and for some people, that's low-skilled workers, to 15 years. And a lot of migrants are not happy with this because the government has said that it's going to affect those already in the UK as well. That's the plan. So a lot of migrants obviously are not happy with this. Signed a petition and it was debated on the 2nd of February by the MPs. You know, debate doesn't really change anything per se. It's still going to be up to the government to make the final decision. However, the Home Secretary has now responded to this as well, and she has come to defend the immigration reforms, why this plan should stand and why the government plans to make these changes, even though consultation is ongoing and is going to end on the 12th of February. So she has basically just said some things which we're going to be sharing in this video.
Targeting a particular fall in net migration through these changes, what I'm targeting is a better managed, controlled system that can deal with this very particular problem we've now got of many hundreds of thousands of people arriving in the country, half of whom are dependents. A change which was never planned for, never thought about, and which now leaves us with a big problem to fix.
Before I continue, there's something that she said here that I really want to point out to us. She said that there are so many migrants and half of which are dependents, and that they didn't plan for them and they didn't think about it very well. Does it mean that when they were opening this pathway, they didn't really think about the fact that dependents are allowed and the main applicants are going to come in with their dependents, wives or husbands and children, or let's just say spouses and children, you get? Are they now telling us that for some of the plans that they make or some of the proposals, they actually don't properly think about the after effects? Is that what she's saying? But let's continue watching. Let me also hear what you guys think in the comment section.
Secretary, can I just drill down on this? Is the issue the numbers that arrived, or is it the potential scale of the recourse to public funds as a result of the numbers? Because
I mean, the two are related.
Yes, absolutely. But is a policy intention to, by a set of changes, encourage people who may have arrived to now leave? Or is it to actually to have the same amount of people, that 800,000 a year that you mentioned, staying here but have much more limited recourse to public funds, given social housing waiting lists and other issues that there are across the country?
Well, you know, we're consulting on the precise nature of whether you look at changing the rules on settlement and recourse to public funds. That would of course require primary legislation, or whether you simply extend the qualifying period to beyond 10 years for particular cohorts of lower skilled workers. So I think that is an open question, and we are genuinely consulting on that. The policy intention is to deal with a particular issue that we have seen. As I say, I'm not driving trying to get a particular decrease. Some of those individuals will find work and will be able to make a contribution, and we are setting the rules and consulting on those rules about how we measure that contribution, what that buys you on your qualifying period. But if you get to your qualifying period, whatever it might end up being, 10 years, maybe a bit longer, and you've made your economic contribution, you can fulfill the mandatory requirements, you will obviously be able to attain settlement in the country. So we're not trying to prevent anyone from ever getting settlement, but we are wanting to change the rules by which they do that. And of course there will be some workers that are not able to do that, and then they would not have a basis for remaining in the country either. But the thrust of the reforms isn't to say we want a particular cohort to go home or particular numbers. It's to get some order and some management into a system that I think we can all agree got out of control.
So from what she has said, from what I got from what she said, she didn't even mention 5 years. she's just trying to say, oh yes, we're saying it could be 10 years or 15 years for low skilled workers. So we're not saying you won't get ILR, but we're just changing how things are going to be done, and the number of years it will take for one to get ILR. Either you get it in 10 years or in 15 years. Talking about healthcare, do you know that you can use your healthcare background to break into tech? So this is not just for doctors and nurses. If you're a care worker, support staff, administrative workers, basically you have a healthcare background, you can transition into the high-paying world of health data analytics. Most healthcare workers feel stuck in physically demanding roles with low pay. You know, this healthcare data school by Tenalytics will actually show you and teach you that the knowledge of medicine that you have, you can apply it in a more valuable way. You have a valuable asset that you can use to make more money. So this is what you already know, but they'll just show you how to apply data to the medical fields that you're already familiar with. Right? So I feel like every healthcare worker right now should grab this opportunity with both hands, because it will help you transition. For those that are in low skill jobs, it will help you transition from low paying jobs to high paying jobs, and you will no longer be qualified or considered as a low skilled worker. This is for everyone in the medical field: doctors, nurses, pharmacists, lab scientists, support workers, nursing assistants, community health workers, health record officers, hospital admins, ward clerk. You basically want a tech skill that guarantees a job in the health sector, and you would love to move to UK, Canada, US, or you are in the UK and want to get a better paying job. This school is for you. It's beginner friendly. So long as you have your medical experience, that's all that matters, you know. And I'm going to leave the details on how to contact them and get started in the description of this video. Do well to reach out to them and get started today using your healthcare background to break into tech. Now back to the video. She also mentioned that if you're contributing to the economy and paying your taxes, you also get it sooner and everything, and that there are some people who do not meet the requirements, would not get ILR, and then you will now have to leave the country because you will not have a cause to stay back, you know. So we could see that she's trying to defend the immigration policies and trying to give reasons why the government have to make these decisions and put these plans in place and everything. Yes, she mentioned that they're consulting on so many of those proposals and the plans and all of that, but that this is what we should expect. Because when I watch this, I'm like, I need to share this with you guys, for those who have not heard or seen it, just so that you know what the Home Secretary have said after the debate, because this was said after the said debate. And BBC also made a publication regarding this as well. Let's quickly look at that, what BBC has to say about everything that is going on. It also says, Mahmoud defends immigration reforms amid Labour opposition. So the Home Secretary has defended the government's immigration proposals as fair amid opposition from Labour MPs over changes to permanent settlement rights. Shabana Mahmood said a very large number of people arriving in the UK in an unprecedented way in recent years does demand an answer from the government. Ministers want to double the time it takes most migrant workers to qualify for permanent residence from 5 years to 10 years. But around 40 Labour MPs have raised concerns about the impact of the proposals on migrants already living here, describing the retrospect approach as un-British and moving the goalpost. Remember that when that debate happened, this was what a lot of MPs were saying. You know, a lot of people said it's going to be unfair, it's going to be a breach of trust, and please, it should not be applied retrospectively. How can you promise people that when they come into the UK to work, after 5 years, they'll get ILR? Now they have listened to you, trusted you, and then they've moved into the UK. And while they're now in the process, getting to that 5 years, you now want to move the goalpost and say, oh, it's no longer 5 years, it's now 10 years. That is un-British, and that is just a breach of trust, you know. So I shared that video giving you guys the outcome of the debate that was held. For those who have not watched it, I'm going to put the link in the description box, you know. So yeah, they have also warned that it would worsen the UK's skill shortage, particularly in the care sector. And the fact that they're saying for care workers are going to get ILR after 15 years is also very ridiculous, because tell me why those people are on a 5-year pathway, and because you say they are low skilled jobs, you now want to shift it. People that are already here, that came with the promise of getting ILR in 5 years, care workers working, paying taxes, contributing, taking care of elderly people, vulnerable people, they're now here, and all of a sudden you're now saying care workers will now be 15 years, or care workers and other low skilled jobs will now be 15 years. Why 15 years specifically for care workers? Why though? These were some of the points that most of the MPs were raising. Let it not be applied retrospectively. Let it not affect those already in the UK. Like, it doesn't make sense. And because a lot of migrants wrote to their MPs to explain this dilemma and how everybody's now living in fear, not concentrating at work, how it's affecting migrants, and the effects and everything is having. So MPs really represented, they lent their voices, and they really talked and spoke on behalf of so many thousands of migrants that this would likely affect. So they were now speaking to the Home Secretary, and this was what she had to say. She was trying to defend these proposals, that it is fair, considering the number of people that will be getting ILR and thereby being entitled to benefits and all of that. So she was just trying to defend why the government wants to make this rule and why it should be applied retrospectively. Moving on, settlement, also known as indefinite leave to remain, gives a person the right to live, work and study in the UK for as long as they like and apply for benefits if they are eligible. The Home Office has said its figures show net migration, the difference between those entering and leaving the UK. Are there 2.6 million people to the UK population between 2021 and 2024. The department has forecast around 1.6 million could therefore settle between 2026 and 2030. Now, after they released these numbers in November, this was where the problem started. They are seeing the number of people that will get ILR between this 2026 and 2030. And, the number of people that obviously when you get ILR, you can now apply for benefits. The number of people that start applying for benefits, that's what they are looking at. You get? So migrants are now saying, okay, if that's what you're looking at, why not just give us ILR after 5 years and just keep the benefits? We don't want it. After all, we've not been entitled to public funds. So the government's proposed changes would extend the standard wait to qualify for settlement to 10 years, although there would be criteria which could lengthen or shorten it. And we know the criteria, they already told us. If you're volunteering, how much you earn could also be a factor to be considered. Nurses and doctors and teachers, those working in public sector, would also be considered. The type of visa you're on, if you're on a spousal visa or BNO visa, you'd also be considered for 5 years and all of that. So basically, your individual circumstance will determine how long or short it will take you to get ILR. You get. So you could come into the UK together. Somebody might get after 5 years, another might get after 7 years, another might get after 10 years, and another might get after 15 years. So this is the proposal that the government have made. So the consultation week closes on the 12th of February has sought views on possible transitional arrangements for people already on a route to settlement. When they talk about these transitional arrangements, I'll be like, why? Like, should we even go through the stress of doing that? Why not just leave it 5 years for everybody that is already here? Everybody. Just apply it to new applications. You get? Anyway, the government, their rules, so let's just wait for what that decision will be. But I just thought to share what the response of the government is regarding the debate that was just held. Right, so the changes would not apply to people who have already obtained settlements. So yeah, that is it for today's video. Let me know what you think. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.